We've all heard of the Romans. Their empire spanned 3 continents. From the scorching sands of Egypt to the lush forests of Germania, they ruled it all. But before we dive into the story of their spectacular rise and tragic fall, let's picture the moment it all came together. The city of Rome, in the heart of Italy, stood as the beating pulse of this grand empire. Their power was not just a word, it was a way of life. Picture a bustling forum, soldiers in polished armor, senators in long flowing tunics. It was more than just an empire, it was a world of unrivaled control, where power, wealth, and culture collided in a whirlwind of architectural marvels, spectacular victories, and political intrigue. But what made the Roman Empire so unstoppable? The Roman Empire didn't just pop up overnight, no. It was built on military genius, political savvy, and a bit of luck. It started, like all great empires, small. Rome began as a city-state, just another speck on the map of ancient Italy. But it was strategic. It was determined. And with leaders like Julius Caesar, it became unstoppable. But what made the Romans different? Why were they so successful when others weren't? It was their ability to adapt. To conquer, then merge. Roman soldiers didn't just win battles, they built roads, cities, and a sense of unity wherever they went. They would take the best parts of the cultures they conquered and make them Roman. A conquered territory? It wasn't the end, it was the beginning of a Roman province. Now imagine standing in the middle of the Roman legions marching towards the east. The clash of steel, the thunderous war cries. This was more than battle, it was a takeover of an entire world, and the Romans were playing the long game. Fast forward to the height of the Roman Empire. This was a time of peace, the Pax Romana, or Roman peace. For about 200 years, from Emperor Augustus to Marcus Aurelius, the empire flourished. Think of it like this, imagine being able to travel across Europe, the Middle East and North Africa safely. Roads were built, cities flourished, trade routes expanded, and the arts thrived. The empire was a machine, perfectly oiled and running smoothly. The citizens, from the wealthy elites to the average Romans, all shared in the benefits of a flourishing economy and cultural renaissance. It was the ideal of Roman society, discipline, order, and unity. But underneath the surface, cracks were already beginning to form. And then it started to go wrong. The cracks were subtle at first, just whispers. After 2 centuries of peace, things began to fray at the edges. There were the constant threats from barbarian tribes at the borders, but that wasn't all. It was the internal decay that truly hurt. By the time of Emperor Commodus, the empire had begun to rot from within. Power struggles, corruption, and economic decline had set in. The once proud legions, loyal to their commanders, became mercenaries, fighting not for Rome, but for pay. The Senate, once a body of elite Roman citizens, turned into a puppet show for the emperor's whims. Rome wasn't just fighting external enemies anymore. It was fighting itself. Enter the crisis of the 3rd century. This was a time when everything seemed to go wrong. The empire split into 3 parts, and the once unified Roman Empire was now a fragmented mess of warlords, rebellions, and invasions. What caused it? Well, think of it like a symphony where the instruments start playing out of tune. A series of weak emperors, economic collapse, plagues. And the worst part? No one could hold the empire together. The once invincible legions now turned on their own leaders. The barbarians at the gates. They were now inside the empire. But even in the chaos, there was still hope. A glimmer of hope. In 395 AD, the Roman Empire split. The Western Roman Empire and the Eastern Roman Empire, also known as the Byzantine Empire, were born. But, like any breakup, things got complicated. The East, with its capital in Constantinople, was wealthier, more stable, and, let's face it, better at dealing with the threats. The West? Not so much. It was left vulnerable to the constant pressure from the barbarian tribes, and after decades of invasions, it was only a matter of time before Rome itself would fall. And fall it did, in 476 AD. The last Roman emperor in the West, Romulus Augustulus, was deposed by a barbarian chieftain, marking the official end of the Roman Empire in the West. But the fall wasn't immediate. No, it was slow, painful. The Roman Empire, once the pinnacle of civilization, faced invasions from every direction. The Visigoths, the Vandals, the Huns. The Romans, who once prided themselves on their might, were now fighting for survival. In the West, the legacy of Rome would fade into the rubble, but the Eastern Roman Empire would carry on for centuries. The last Roman emperor in the West may have fallen, but the spirit of Rome, its culture, its ideas, its strength, lived on. The Eastern Empire would carry the banner of Rome forward, eventually becoming the Byzantine Empire, but the West? That chapter was closed. So, what's left of Rome today? Its influence is everywhere. From the language we speak, Latin, the foundation of many modern languages, to the very principles of law and government that shape our modern democracies. Rome's architectural feats still stand, in the ruins of the Colosseum, in the triumphal arches, and in the roads that once stretched across the empire. Rome may have fallen, but its legacy is alive. We see it in every modern city, in every courthouse, in every philosophical debate. Rome's story isn't just an end. It's a beginning that has shaped our world today. So, what's the takeaway from all this? The rise and fall of the Roman Empire isn't just a tale of history, it's a lesson. A reminder that empires, no matter how strong, can't rest on their laurels. There's always someone waiting at the gates, always something that can break the system. But, also, that greatness leaves a mark, no matter what. Rome's story isn't just an end. It's a beginning that has shaped our world today. And in that, it's immortal.
I'm looking in the mirror, so foggy, but I've never seen clearer. I don't really think anyone can save me, and honestly, I'm not really sure I want saving. I like to be my own worst enemy. There's no risk if you